Somehow, Wado, we still are waiting for the Redcliffe Dolphins bubble to burst.
You're
waiting.
waiting.
You're the only one.
I'm not.
You are,
I am not. I am not.
You've
the
been
general
on their case
public.
since the start of the
I
year.
love the Dolphins. Okay, you can say that for one game or one series. You can't say it for bloody 10 years. Just accept that they do Origin better. I mean, seriously.
I'm not accepting
way.
that. I'm not accepting that.
Well, g'day, it's Footy Talk with Wado, Woodsy and Maroon. Welcome back to Wado, Woodsy after a wonderful Magic round. Wado, g'day, mate.
Maroon, I don't think it was so wonderful for me and Aaron and our teams.
Aaron.
A little bit
I
of
only
a...
get called Aaron by my wife when I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I haven't heard
well-
anyone call you Aaron.
Well, when I'm just thinking about our performances, both our teams' performances, that's the sort of mood it puts me in, Aaron.
Yes.
Okay, so
And
we need
Wade.
to...
Wade Williams.
there's going to be plenty of work to do this week.
Mm.
And we get to come up against each other.
Yeah.
It's been a while. We
Yeah.
used to have a running feud when we were younger, actually.
We did actually, yeah. Mr. Tangles.
Before the referees finally caught on that Woodsy was holding me down in every play of the ball. Like holds players in to try and milk a penalty.
That only happened because we played together.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's been a disappointing couple of days just on the back of the result. So I'm looking forward to getting some work done this week and hopefully a better performance against the Sea Eagles over at Brookvale.
Well, if Kramer, as Kramer on Seinfeld would say, if it goes down, if it goes into a rumble on game day, will you two, you won't back off, you'll take each other on if you have to, and I'll run out on the field like an embarrassed father.
We're both lovers, not fighters.
Right, okay.
So,
Too old to be getting to that
yeah,
stage
no,
now.
we'll just save that for,
Settle down, boys.
the
Settle
young
down.
boys. They can have fun.
But you know that if that does happen, it might be, you might come away from each other on the field and say, well, that's fine, it's all over on the field. You'll get dragged straight into Triple MHR.
We might just do. Remember what the Morris boys did a couple of years
Yeah,
ago?
the
They were
fake one.
fake
Pretend one, the
punches
pretend
just to
one.
make sure that we're doing the best for our side. So we'll
Well-
do something little like that.
Well, I think obviously both sides need a win.
Yep.
But for you, Woodsy, that's the Titans and then a big score from the Broncos.
Yeah, it was quite disappointing. Like Wado said, I think we're probably the two worst teams in saying that. We both leaked a similar amount of points, and it probably wasn't so much a scoreboard. It was just the starts from both of us. We just let them get away, and for us at Manly, we had a big emphasis on starting fast, and mate, we just turned over too much ball. First half, 10 errors, and mate, you're lucky to do 10 errors in a game sometimes. So, mate, we're quite off, and it was really disappointing. And the sheds after the game was. Everyone knew, like it wasn't one of those ones where blokes are up and down whether you've had a half decent game or not. But it was a lot of sore heads after the game, a lot of head scratching. But we come back yesterday and had a bit of a review and recovery, and we know the areas that we went wrong in. Look, the effort areas were there. It's just the lack of execution from us. That was the most disappointing thing, and that's what we can control. So that's something we need to work on all week, because if you do that against the Sharks, they're a side like Brisbane. They can put 20 points on you in a space of 5-6 minutes.
The funny thing is, I suppose, it was a sense of occasion. I don't mean magic round. For you blokes, Woodsy,
Huge.
it was Anthony Seabold going back to the Bronco or back to Suncorp. And for you, Wado, it was taking on the Dolphins in Wayne Bennett's 900th game. So I think for that reason, they were always going to start fast Redcliffe, weren't they?
Yeah, and we knew that. We definitely spoke about that. Unfortunately, we just, they won the collision battle. They definitely just won that battle where they were tackling a bit harder than we were running, and they were falling through our tackle, so they were running harder than we were tackling. And, take everything out of the game, all the tactics in rugby league, all the stats, whatever you can say, you need to be at least evening that, like, collision stuff out. You need to be competing in that area. Like, the game hasn't changed in 100 and however many years it's been around in that sense. You need, if you're not in it physically, if you're not in that battle and you're losing that battle, it's going to be hard work for you. And then because of that, we were forced into some errors, and then we just couldn't defend our try line. We couldn't defend those errors, and then the pressure starts to build up, and it's a snowball effect. And unfortunately, at one stage there in the first half, we're staring down the barrel of 30-0. So it was quite, it's hard to put your finger on exactly where it goes wrong. And, somewhere along the way, we messed up our preparation, and we just weren't there the other night physically how we needed to be, and the Dolphins were too good. They made us pay on what was a special night, for their coach and who is an icon of the game, really.
That just shows you, like, if you're off in one area in the game in NRL, it can just dictate. Like, the week before, you watched the first set that Cronulla did against the Cowboys. Like, they come off the back fence. Physically, they were there. And then Cowboys were nowhere. And then you look at Cowboys on the weekend, they absolutely bashed the Roosters. So it just shows you the mindset. And, we were in the same trap as Wado. Like, we weren't winning those collisions early on, and we're trying to, force our way out of the game by trying to do, like, silly offloads that weren't on because we're trying to win the easy way. And that's in NRL. If you're trying to do that, it's not going to work. And it just shows you.
In rugby league, you unless you're in the physical battle and that part of the game is right, in the right spot, and you're in that contest with your opposition, it doesn't matter what tactics you have. Just throw them out the window. If you're not in
physically, mate.
If you're not holding your own physically, your tactics are never going to work anyway. You need to have that in the right place, and then your tactics take over.
And let me quickly ask you about those two Brisbane-based sides, because the Dolphins, firstly, we had a look at what they did to the Sharkies on the weekend, and they're right up there, well in top 8. They've won 5 games, yet somehow, Wado, we still are waiting for the Redcliffe Dolphins bubble to burst.
You're
waiting.
You're
I'm
the
not
only
waiting.
one.
I'm not.
You are,
I am not. I am not.
You've
the
been
general
on their case
public.
since the start of the
I
year.
love the Dolphins. I love Wayne Bennett. I love everyone.
You're waiting for the bubble to burst.
Well, I'm not waiting. I feel like it's a week-to-week proposition. If you still look at them, there's still not a lot of quote-unquote star power.
Do you think they can make the 8 now?
I think they can make the 8.
Oh, geez, your tune's changed since about a month ago.
No, hang on. I'll tell you what, mate. You fit right in here. You're changing what I said. I said
no, I'm not at all.
I said we're getting carried away when
After
they won
what,
their first 2 games. I said we're getting
games.
carried away. I'm not. I think they'll make the 8. And I hope they do. I think it's a wonderful rugby league story. In fact, I think that should be the template for our 18th team. Another Brisbane-based team plucked into the NRL.
Another Brisbane team.
Another Brisbane team. Yeah.
I just think they have, they got, before the season kicked off, say you say quote-unquote superstars, you just have to look at the experience that they recruited. Like the 2 Bromwich boys, Felice Kafusi, I suppose Jesse, yeah. I suppose the only the question mark was around, O'Sullivan, their half. The question marks around Milford, who was going to be their spine. No one rated Jeremy Marshall-King, but he's had an outstanding season.
Yeah.
So he's been a real linchpin for
Katoa?
him. And that's what I mean. There was question marks around those areas, but they've seen those areas they're no longer question marks. That young Katoa, he's going to play for 15 years. He's outstanding young talent. He's only getting better. Sean O'Sullivan's obviously out at the moment, and he's going to come back in because he's the perfect foil for that team because he's just so steady with his kicking game. And Cody Nikorima, he's been exceptional the last couple of weeks, particularly against us. He was dangerous last night all the time as he moves across the field. So I think a lot of the areas where we had question marks have been answered, right? And with those questions answered, particularly around their spine and their experience, I think they're in great shape.
And all right, so now the other Brisbane side, are we convinced they are genuine with a healthy Adam Reynolds and a healthy Payne Haas?
Yep.
Some great back rowers, great players in that area. Are we convinced they can be grand final contenders?
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be up there. But for me, the thing is, we speak about, obviously, Adam Reynolds has to be fit. The other one for me, Maroon, is they've got to get through the origin period unscathed. Last year, they were going gangbusters as well. So they were in the top 4 to around 19, but then didn't even make the top 8 after that.
Yeah,
so
that's outrageous.
The biggest thing is, and Wado will tell you, it's the roller coaster of the State of Origin series. It's 6 long weeks. You might win the first game, lose the second game, and, mate, you could be getting looked after the media, then you have a bit of a quiet game. The media comes after you, the fans start, then you start like
it's the emotional toll.
It's the emotional roller coaster. Like you're up for you're in camp for 10 days. Like there's going to be moments where you're a bit flat, but then you get to your high. They play the Origin on a Wednesday night. They come back on a Friday, Saturday. They got to play there. You're not playing in front of 50,000 at Suncorp or 80,000 at Homebush. It's just how they handle that roller coaster.
Well, and it's a balancing act for them too, right?
Yep.
Because they're going to have Payne Haas in New South Wales, and you're going to have like guys like Paddy Carrigan in the Queensland team. So you're not going to get the same set of emotions coming back to you to try and manage. Because, like you said, one's going to win, one's going to lose. So one comes in on a high from the Origin camp, and the other one, you've got to remotivate and bring him back.
Never thought of that.
Bring him back to the same level.
Yeah.
But they would have learned from last year. There would have been no one in the world more disappointed than that finish last year than that team, and they would have spoke about it in the preseason, and they would have been prepping to have a start to the year like they have had to put themselves in a good position, and they'll be hoping that the lessons they learnt last year and the things that probably led to the decline, they're in a much better position to handle that.
What I reckon you'll see from this year, I reckon they'll rest players because they've got all those wins on the board already. I think they're two wins clear. They're at 16 points, and I think they'll rest a couple. They won't but they won't rest them all at once. They'll just pick their moments. So they might rest, Hush straight after, or Paddy Carrigan. Then Flegler's a chance. Walsh. So they might just pick their moments to rest them, not all at 1 week, but they'll just pick it over sort of a month period where they can just say, all right, you get away. Similar to what happened to Newcastle, but hopefully they don't put on social media and get in trouble.
Well, boys, that's a great point that you guys make there, and it brings out a strength that we have here as a podcast. Is I don't think the average person would stop and think, you got an Origin, you got 2 players coming back from Origin. Yep. One was in the losing camp, one was in the winning camp, and you got to balance that out.
So Origin is, it's a physical test.
It's hard.
It's a physical, hard test on your body, but it's just as equally an emotional test as well, because you're so invested in it, you care so much about it. You know how many people are riding on the result. Like, you're representing your state, and you know how passionate they are, and you know how intense the rivalry is. So the emotional fallout of it, even when you win, like trying to come back to earth,
it's hard.
It's hard. It's just it takes a lot out of you, and then you balance it with the physical aspect. It's a big event you need to be ready for. And if you play all 3 games, it's
And this day and age, you've got all the social media stuff. Everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's got a TV show, and you're not even looking for it. You could be just sitting down, and then you look at the TV, and oh, geez, your head pops up, and like, oh, what are they saying this time? But if you win, it's okay because you're like, oh, it must be something good. But if you lose, and you're trying to hide down in your shell, and there's nowhere to hide.
Well, at Clubland, you might get media once a week, right?
That's it.
Once a week, and
every day.
maybe once a month you might get it because you rotate the players around who has to be available. Obviously, after games, normally the higher profile player guys are getting all the media anyway, so they're used to it. But during Origin, it's every day. Yeah. There's a question every day. Like, it must be hard for the journos trying to create new content.
What about the first day when you get in camp?
The
first day, you got to do, I think it's like an all-in for about 4 or 5 hours. So you do every 7, 9, 10, Fox, every platform, but then they still want you during the week as well.
Yeah, you got to do the filming for the games, the content, the jerseys, the sponsorship photos. It's a lot goes into it.
And some of those journalists are lovely blokes. I'd love to be able to spend more time with them if
I could. When me and Woodsy were playing, we used to camp at Coffs Harbour. They'd stay with us at Coffs Harbour in the hotel, so you literally couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. Would you blokes instill Queensland as the favourites for Origin? Of course, they did win it last year, and I don't know. It feels like whoever they trot out, I'm saying this to you two, and you've both been in Origin camp for the Blues, but they just seem to do it better. I mean, even to the point where we go back a couple of years when they won Origin, I think it was 2020. Might have been 2021. I don't know off the top of my head.
Just Bennett's last time.
When we had the Adelaide game.
The worst team ever.
And, that we had the worst. So, who comes out and says they're the worst team ever? I mean.
Stupid fools. No one.
Yeah.
We don't as players say
I know that. But anyone, like people in New South Wales, we obviously don't get it the way Queenslanders get it. I would say we start favourites 8 times out of 10.
Well, firstly, for me, what does my head in is they always say, oh, Queensland's do it better. Mate, look at the side they had. They had like 5, 6 future models in the team at once. They were blessed with a certain.
Oh, that's for the period of dominance.
For the period of dominance. So, they had so many quality players. It was unbelievable. They had.
I actually think, to be fair, during that period, there was only one whitewash. I think.
Yeah, there was
the majority went to a decider. And I think it'd be fair to say the Blues actually held their gloves up with that team that the Queensland had. Like
and look how many changes. Look how many of the changes the Blues had to have all that period of time.
Yeah,
the
but you sound like a couple of whinging old players with respect. I mean,
you sound like you on the radio.
No, you can't say they dominated Origin for 10 years. The Queenslanders. When I say the Queenslanders dominated Origin for 10 years, and you're here saying, "Oh, well, we held our gloves up," and you're here bloody blaming. I don't know. I mean. Okay, you can say that for one game or one series. You can't say it for bloody 10 years. Just accept that they do Origin better. I mean, seriously.
I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that.
Well, okay.
I do agree they should be favourites.
They should be favourites.
Right.
They won last year's game, and we watched how the Broncos are going and Redcliffe Dolphins are going. Like Brisbane Gold Coast are going well, which is the majority of.
Well, they are sneaking up quietly, aren't they?
So I think they're in a good spot at the moment. I think it's fair that they're favourites.
And you look
but
at
it's going to be a close.
But you look at it as well, Wade. You look at their spine. It's going to be the exact same as last year. They're going to have Munster, Hunt, Cherry Evans.
Well, they've got 3 fullbacks they've got to try and
Ponga. They'll stick with Ponga.
Yeah, I know, but then they have the opportunity to maybe have Walsh off the bench or the Hemiso, squeeze him in.
The hammer.
In the centres or on the wing.
Yeah.
They've got some players that are in form at the moment, which is a worry for New South Wales. But
We're
which
the
is why,
opposite.
Yeah.
we got some injuries.
Not that
in
we
the
haven't got players
forwards.
in form, but it's more that the players are injured in New South
Yeah,
Wales.
it's particularly in the forwards. I think
Yeah.
the outside backs will be okay, but we're missing some big time forwards. Liam Martin hasn't played much footy. I think he's coming back soon. Jakey's obviously his calf.
Yeah, Jackie's calf.
Angus Crichton, he's only on the comeback trail. They're all guys you probably pick
yeah.
straight away.
Oh,
So
massively, yeah.
Reggie's out.
Yeah,
So
Reggie.
he's a front rower.
Paulo's just got back from
Paulo's
suspension.
just got back. So
Oh, that's good, fellas. You're getting the excuses already, and they haven't kicked off yet. This is.
What are you, a Queenslander?
No, I'm not a
I'm
Queenslander.
just saying. I'm just
not a
saying.
Queenslander. But
Queensland, rightfully, I think fairly, should be favourites.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just a little bit shaken and shocked that you blokes, they dominated Origin for 10 years and you want to say you held your gloves up and you want to say, oh, it could have gone either way. It's 10 years, mate. If it happened once, okay. But this went on for 10 years. Now, boys, okay, let's talk about players in the New South Wales squad that probably, I don't think, obviously, Nico Hines can't do any more. Go around Redfern, they'll tell you Campbell Graham can't do any more.
Oh, I'm a big fan of
Yeah,
Campbell.
I'm
Graham.
so am I.
Appy
Yeah.
might possibly be number 9.
Possibly, yeah. He's he's been one of the best. Like honestly, he's been in a side that hasn't won many games. The last 2 weeks, he's been absolutely outstanding. But mate, even the weeks prior to that, he's been the most dominant player on the field for the Tigers. He's been trying his backside off. You put him in a side with, not that I'm saying the Tigers aren't the best, but you put him around great players in an Origin side, he's just going to, mate, and he's got that combination with, Cleary, if they pick Luai, Isaiah Yeo.
Isaiah Yeo's a big one in the
that's
middle.
the spine. Like, they've got that link, so he's already got the combination there, and that's what they reckon. Origin's all about combinations, so that's probably a big tick in his favour.
I wonder, though, do you think, Wado, that Appy's played in a side that hadn't won a game up until a fortnight ago? Do you think that has any effect on whether or not he gets picked?
Oh, I think if you're playing in a side and you're struggling and you're struggling as well because of that, well, for sure it affects your opportunity to be picked because they need to be seeing you playing good footy and in a good rhythm, in a good headspace. Freddie likes to be as least distractions as possible in the camp. So I think Appy for me, particularly after the last couple of weeks, even if he wasn't playing that well in that team at the start of the year, they've won their last 2 games, and a big part of that has been because of Appy. So it's just, for me, it's whether he plays 80 minutes or you do the 2-hooker rotation, whether you go Damien Cook for that change of pace after, or you look at someone like Young, like Robson from the Cowboys, or
Brayley.
our man
Yeah,
Brayley.
Blakey.
I think there's a good opportunity possibly to say, right, we have a player that's good enough to win now and help us win now, but also a young guy to go, well, you could be our hooker for the next 5, 6, 7 years if you get that experience, right? So that's the way I would be leaning. Certainly starting Appy because he's a big-time player. He's won, on the biggest stage and played well on the biggest stage many times before. And that 14 role, similar to what Queensland do with Harry Grant, I'd try find someone young with some, who could grow into that position and maybe hold that down for, a long time.
I'm with you.
I'm definitely biased.
You're
But
Sharky's man,
I'm my
Brayley.
Sharky's man.
I've played
Browse.
Blake as well, and the thing that's going to help him is Cleary's going to be there for another nearly 10 years
Yeah.
too. So they're going to have that combination. And Blakey, mate, plays 80 minutes in the middle every week. I don't think he's missed many games to his credit. Like touch
He's
wood.
tough. He's tough.
He-
He's only little, but he's tough.
Yeah, he's very underrated. Defensively, very good, and he's
His
one of those.
service is unbelievable.
He's the best service in the game, I think. Like, just he can stand, just deliver a 20-meter cutout pass straight to Nico, and just gets the ball at the right time.
But surely you're not picking Luai, you're picking Nico. You're picking Nico Hines.
I definitely am.
And you're picking Nico if
Oh
it
yeah,
was
I'd
up to
pick
you.
Nico, but then
Right.
but Cleary. I reckon Freddie has to go to Cleary, and it's what Cleary wants because he's the dominant half in the team. And then what you're hearing from Cleary is that he loves the combination with Luai.
Well,
he said, but he just says like when because it's such a pressure situation when you're in Origin. Sometimes you just can't talk, you can't hear each other next to you, but instinctively they know exactly what each other's doing. You look at a lot of the times, Cleary makes a break. Who's on the inside? There's Luai. They work so well with each other. Luai skips across, Cleary bang under the ruck.
Okay.
So it's I reckon for me it's more combinations, and you got to speak to Cleary because he's your main man.
Who have you got at 3 and 4?
Oh, Tommy and Latrell.
Okay.
Tommy Latrell. If Turbo's not 100% fit, but I would have Campbell Graham in the centres. If not, even if Turbo is fit and in the centres, Campbell Graham's on the wing outside him.
That's me too.
See, this is the thing. You can't pick them all, can you? You
No.
just can't pick them all.
But I love Campbell Graham's backfield carries, and I reckon in Origin you need a big man, and he's just he's like that Matt King type. Remember Matt King early 2004, 5 when New South Wales used to kill him. He's like that.
All right. So, having said that, you're going to have Teddy at fullback.
Yep.
You're going to have Nico. It's probably going to be Luai though, if it's up to Nathan.
The thing is, if you don't pick Nico at 6, I don't think you can pick
No,
him
you
at
can't
14.
have him on the
yeah,
bench.
you can't.
He's
That's
one
what
of
I
those
mean. Like, you
six
can't
or
do it.
nothing.
So, and I get the combination argument for sure, but I just don't like what else.
But he can't do anything else.
What else can he
I'm
do?
with you, mate.
No,
Like,
no.
he's been
And I know I'm biased because I
Yeah.
play with him, but I just he wants the game. He attacks the game. He'll like play off the back of Yo and Nath. Like Nath can run the side for sure,
Yeah.
and Nico will be on the left short side if he counts numbers, on the right short side, doubling down, getting 3 indicators out the back on shape. Or he's just so good all over the park. And I actually see. I know they haven't got a combination, but I see Nathan and Nico having an outstanding combination.
And it's
Like, together
How
once-
old's Nico? Nico's 26.
Nico's 26.
So
He's got a
it could
good
be a long
temperament.
time. But you know
Um,
what? That's what I'm saying. It's up to Cleary. Is he open to that?
Yeah.
Because mate, at the end of the day, he runs the side.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't think Nico can do anything else because he Dalian player last year. The way he's come back since he's had injury, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's been one of the best. He would be leading the Dalian now if he played the first two or
Yeah.
three rounds. So, mate, Nico, I don't know what you can do, what else you can do, mate. You've done everything you possibly could.
I don't know what you can do, but it does seem like he's probably going to miss out again because he's not going to get picked at 6.
Well, we don't know. We haven't heard
Well,
Freddie
no,
say
we
too
haven't
much.
heard that.
Yeah,
but
so-
if he doesn't get picked at 6, he's not going to get picked on the bench.
I think it's a waste of a spot there because how are you going to get him into the game?
Yeah.
You know you got him on the bench.
But the only thing is, Wade, he can play fullback in that too, like because we lost Tedesco the other year, remember? But then you got
Yeah.
Latrell, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we're going into other territory.
No, that's right. You're just doing what you can to get him in the side.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah. And it's like, you were the coach of the under-10s and you want to get your young bloke a run. So
It's
you
like it's like I'm getting you that T-shirt and getting to try to fit that on.
Mate, there's nothing wrong with his
It's
T-shirt.
like it's for a 12-year-old kid.
Mate, I favour the tight shirt. And I actually thought this one was probably a little bit too loose.
Speaking of shirts, have a look at Wado's
Yeah,
shirt. What's
look at
going on
that.
here?
Oh, straight from the golf course.
Is that Cronulla Golf Club? My mate Desi runs the show down there. Desi and,
Desi, yeah,
and
Wado's
Wado's
Annie.
a loyal member down there.
He's in the club, but
Yeah.
Mark and Sheree in the pro shop, they do an outstanding
Oh,
job.
yeah,
They have
right.
all the new kit in there, and I bought this a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I walked in, I just had an old plain grey one on,
Yeah.
and I walked past. I said, "Oh, that's not a bad shirt." I had a look at it, and went, "Yep, well, I'm going to buy that."
That's a shirt. That's something Maroon will wear.
No,
But I actually saw a shirt downstairs.
No, you know what?
Walked
Hasn't got
past.
enough buttons for Maroon.
Yeah, you must unbutton down. I know.
Well, I should just tell everyone he's wearing Woodsy's, who's the all of a sudden the shirt judge, the shirt police. He's wearing a Nike top he got when he was on the under-18s New South Wales Blues tour. Honestly, mate, I'll shout you a new one. I'll shout you a new one.
We were going to talk about Origins today, so I
look-
thought I'd come in.
While we're talking about clothes, what about those bloody shorts you got on?
What's wrong with the shorts, mate?
Honestly,
Jordans.
They look like undershorts.
Woodsy's Front Row Forum. Front Row Forum.
Well, it's the segment, the podcast segment that's it's already winning awards in the Tuesday released Footy Talk
I appreciate that.
front row segment Department of Awards. You're leading the way there. So
Yeah, so
we're very proud of you. Your mother's very proud of you.
Oh, beautiful,
Down there at the Arncliffe bus depot.
Tempe, mate. Tempe.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
And what's
Gurge
this one all
Gurge
about?
is still floating around the front.
He's
trying to find
just
it.
being a creep, hanging around the bus depot there.
No, so today's one, Maroon, after seeing the poor old Knights cop a little bit of a flack about going to Bali midweek, when they had 9 days off, which I didn't think was much wrong with it, because obviously they would have, got their schedules and the training. They would have had their training loads to do.
You didn't think there was that much wrong with it?
No, because they would have
Okay.
had they would have been accountable and they would have got their training list that they had to do. But mine's from it's not middle of the year. It's at the end of the year. We had a Four Nations tour in 2016. We went to England, and as anyone knows, it's an awesome time to be.
So you're about 26 years
You'd have
old.
been younger then.
No, I was 25.
Right.
I got married just on the Friday, and I had to leave on the Monday.
Oh, nice.
So my wife Sarah was real happy with that.
Yeah.
So the boys played a game in Perth, met them over there, and then we flew off to go straight to England. And mate, it was a 6-week tour, unbelievable. But one of the things Mao told us was if we win the first 2 games, because you play 4 games, so I think it was New Zealand, Scotland, and England were in the Four Nations, and us obviously. So you win the first 2 games, you guaranteed a final spot in the final. So we beat Scotland. We towed them up at Hull KR. And then the whole second week training, and that was when he told us in that second week, was that if you win this second game. We've got the whole third week off. All you have to do is captain's run and play. So I can't remember who it was. I think
Mau's a genius.
He's the best. Like, he's unbelievable. So I think it was might have been Cooper Cronk or JT. So they got us all in a big group once the coaches had left, and they're like, the boys, there's a travel centre up the road. How about we go to Barcelona, or it was a toss up between Barcelona or Ireland. So a few of us want to go to Barcelona because we've heard how good Barcelona is. There's a real good night strip there. So we've all put our hands up. All right, we'll go to Barcelona. I think they won the vote 14 to 8 or something. So we all go down to the travel agent, and then we get a quote of what it was. And Cooper Cronk, genius. He was a smart man. He did all the talking, and we got a great deal. But the only problem was we had to do it there on the spot. But we haven't played the second game yet, so we're all thinking, what do we do? What do we do? And then I think Thurston and Cronk just go, mate, let's just book it. We'll back ourselves in this game. So we go to Birmingham. We're playing against New Zealand. It's 10-6, with about probably 9 or 10 minutes to go on the clock. We're defending our try line. And then I remember Sean Johnson puts a grubber in. They get a repeat set. Thurston gets all the boys in, and he's just sitting there. You could just tell. When Thurston gets stressed, he starts he's moving around up and down. So he goes, boys, don't you remember what we did on Wednesday? And then we're like, oh, yeah, we booked the, he goes, I don't effing want to not go to effing Barcelona. So this whole set is going to be called an effing Barcelona set, and you're going to defend your backsides off like you've never defended in your whole life. Mate, we held them out. We got an error play 3, and then we ended up going up the field and scoring a try. And he goes, that's what we do for Barcelona, boys. And then, mate, other funny part of the story was, so we were all going to Barcelona, and then 3 blokes didn't come. 2 of the blokes were the richest blokes in the NRL. Cam Smith and Greg Innes didn't want to come. They want to put their money towards they want to put their hand in their pocket and come with us.
I'll just say, but I'm with you on that. I'll just say, right, it was, if you won, you got the week off.
We got the week off.
If you didn't win, but
I don't want to know what was going to happen.
I know. That's what I mean. I think that's the criticism that the Knights players received. They didn't play that well. And like you said, you can't really control everything because they had plenty of time.
But you know what, Wader, for me,
the schedule comes out, so you know when your breaks are.
Yeah,
but
you look at the month they had, Wader. Penrith the Golden Point.
Yeah.
They played the Cowboys and just got beat on the bell. And then obviously they had a stinker against Para because they were falling off the cliff. They might have needed that break.
Oh, hang on.
No, there's no doubt.
You're saying
there's no doubt they needed a break.
The month they had. So what you're saying is the month they had, they lost 3 games.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say that.
In the schedule, it's already your season planner is already there. So those blokes are probably booked out at the start of the year.
I think at the very least, it doesn't look good if you're paying a membership to be a Knights.
Well, for me, all I can't stand is what they did. Why put it on social media? If they don't put it on social media, no one knows what's happened.
I 100% they need a break for sure.
Yeah.
I like for sure. And like you said, you need a break throughout the year. The game's hard and fast, and it's only getting harder and faster. Like when you have time away, you need that time away. It's just a hard one, I think, because it's Bali. It's just how Bali, is, and then not going well. So the fans wouldn't want to know,
it's not a good look.
Read the room a little bit.
It doesn't read well.
The club gave them 9 days off.
No, I know. Well, I know. And we're going to have a week off, I think.
Yeah, we've got one later in the year. We've got 6 days off later in the year.
I want to go away with my family as well. And
I won't be going to Bali because I hate Bali.
I don't like to go overseas that much because I like to get my golf in down at Cronulla. So I don't like to go too far.
And the missus has to work.
We'll definitely go somewhere. I just don't think Bali would be my first choice.